Okay, so this is a continuing interview about life and everything. So you were just talking about how your mom. How many kids did she have again total? 11.
11, yeah.
Oh my God! And two of them, besides that 11, two of them didn't survive, or is that
Yeah.
counting?
No, three and oh, the twins.
The twins
Mhm.
passed away.
Yeah, they had something like um, stomach virus. They had
Oh.
a lot of diarrhea,
Ooh.
and in those days, so that it must have been. Let's see, if I was born in 35, it's just the 33, and they were before the 33, so maybe around 1930.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Wow. Okay, so how about give me a clue about what your life was or give me a little rundown about like how your day would go as a young girl. I don't know, 12 or something.
Well, I can tell you that scholastically, uh, there was kindergarten, but it was a paid kindergarten,
Oh.
so that most of the people that were below income level couldn't afford kindergarten,
Yeah.
and so you went into school, into first grade, with all these children that had the means to go to kindergarten. And if they were of that means, they also had means of being part of society that had more life experiences.
Yeah.
Say, like people that took vacations
Mm-hmm.
and had the means of having. They had more income, so they had more food experiences and say like getting to go to the movies
Yeah.
and things like that. And we were all thrown into the same into the same school,
Mm-hmm.
the same classes that these children that had more privilege at that.
So the town you lived in, you're in Temple at this time. Am I correct? Temple, Texas, and the town itself is very small at that point. Is that,
Mm-hmm.
and how many people? Like, can you guess like how many people were in the town at that point? A couple hundred or
No, there was probably maybe 2,000.
2,000? That's very small.
Yeah.
And so and when you were 12 years old, what does that make the year about?
I can remember things like in 1945. That
Mhm.
was when I was 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my Uncle Alex going off to
war.
World War II.
Wow.
And so I think wasn't the war over like in 44 or 45?
It's hard for me. I'm not real good on that.
Mhm.
But you remember him going to war around
Mhm. And
40
receiving airmail delivery letters
from him.
where it had the red on the envelope,
Mm-hmm.
red lines on it,
Mm-hmm.
saying it was airmail. Nowadays everything is one mail.
Who did you say went? That was your uncle?
My Uncle
Your
Alex,
uncle, okay.
the one he met.
I see.
And he died at the last reunion where we went.
Uh-huh.
Because I remember when we were going to go into the airport, I think somebody told us that he had died, but we couldn't stay for the burial because we already had our tickets and
Yeah.
had to leave. But I remember how Mom was always so sad or so happy, she'd get pictures, and there he was in the whatever river up there that they were in. And we were all so happy when he got back home, and he had a neighbor friend of another man,
Uh-huh.
another guy, that they went together into the army, and his name was also Alex, and the other Alex didn't make it back. So his friend stayed. He was a casualty. And then he met the woman of his dreams, and they were together till the end.
So, your mom's name was Cayetana. What was your dad's name?
Tiburcio.
Tiburcio? Can you spell it?
Tiburcio. And he
Tiburcio.
was either called Joe or T.
T. Yeah, I
Hey,
can see.
T.
Especially in Texas. Like, Tiburcio, I ain't gonna say just call you T. So, did looking back on your upbringing in that, were you able to perceive elements of racism that were apparent in your town growing up?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe give me an example or two?
Yeah. Well, I remember one time my older sister was able to drive, and I don't know if she has a license or not.
Yeah.
But I think she did some housework for some man, and he asked her to drive his car somewhere because they were going to go pick up another car. And we stopped at a restaurant, and the restaurant on the window it said no Mexicans allowed.
Wow.
And so we wanted to pick up something to go anyway because we didn't want to stop to eat.
Yeah.
But we had to go to the bathroom, so they the waitress told us that we couldn't come in and eat because no Mexicans were allowed.
Oof.
And we said we just wanted to use the bathroom. We didn't even stop to eat.
That's interesting because I remember I've seen lots of signs, whites only, no coloreds, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd never heard of like no Mexicans or that kind of. But I suppose Texas is right next to Mexico, so there's a lot of Mexicans, and therefore racism against them.
Dad said he saw a sign in the window that said, "No Mexicans or dogs allowed in the building."
Wow. Yeah. Well, I guess we haven't advanced a lot, but we have advanced past that, thankfully. Okay. That's interesting. So how did you feel your teachers were at all condescending or their attitudes were different because you were Mexican, or were you expected not to learn as fast or put in special classes or anything like that?
Well, I've ended up being an assistant teacher in my lifetime, and somehow in the second grade I got failed. We didn't have any special classes or.
You got failed in the second grade.
Yeah, I got failed in the second grade.
So you think that teacher kind of had it out for you because she had personal feelings about Mexicans?
Well, being at the second grade and not having the life exposure and parents that didn't go to school. My mother, I think, didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't go to a school for the first grade.
Mm-hmm.
Only to the first grade, maybe.
Hang on.
One or the other didn't, but it was just the second grade.
Okay.
And so they didn't have anything to give us to assist us as far as schoolwork went.
Uh-huh.
But my father didn't know how to read or write. He would sign his signature as T.
As T, yeah.
Or an X. And somewhere along the line, my mother must have worked with someone that took the time to teach her something, because she learned how to read and write up to cursive.
Wow.
And every day that I can remember being in her house, she read the newspaper.
That's amazing.
So there she gave us an example of what could be achieved.
Yeah.
And after I got going, boy, I was in all the spelling bees, and I knew my English backwards and forwards. I knew how to conjugate verbs. And
That's great. Okay, I'm going to pause this and we can continue on part 3.